All right, guys, this is it. Kevin Z here in New York City. We're about to head up to the Vaynerchuk head office to talk to Gary Vee. Come follow me inside.
Such a pleasure, my man.
What would you say to somebody who's thinking about quitting their job? Because right now, a lot of our people, our potential customers are, let's say they're working full-time corporate world, they're marketing managers, marketing directors, and they're like, F this. I don't want to be this cog in the wheel. I want to build my own destiny. I want to go out there.
Yep.
I want to build my own business. And it's not something that they have to jump off that cliff. They can do it part-time, 6 to 10 p.m., 11 p.m. at night. They can just work those nights. Once they get that revenue to replace their current day job, they do that. So what would you tell somebody who's kind of
first of all, for all of you that don't know who I am, you always have to know where the message is coming from. You're talking to somebody who basically gave up on school in 4th grade because he knew that school was driving him to become a worker versus a business owner. So, what am I going to tell somebody? I'm going to say, look, if you even have an inkling to thinking that you want to do it, I highly recommend you really, really, really go inside of yourself and try to push yourself towards it. I mean, I think for a lot of people that are watching this that they just like watching inspirational stuff, you've got to be self-aware and know whether you are an actual entrepreneur or not. Mm-hmm. If you're not self-motivated, you're not an entrepreneur. Like for people that are watching this that are already resellers of yours, mm-hmm. that are not crushing it, it might be a hell of a lot. I mean, I'm listening to your product right now, but it might just be that you're not motivated. It's just that if you're in America, maybe you just took all 5 days off of 4th of July. Like maybe you're just not hungry.
Happy 4th of July, by the way.
Thank you. And so it was Canada Day too.
Yeah, on Friday. Yeah, we had our mini fireworks.
Yeah. I think self-awareness is what I'm doing right now. Very long-winded answer to self-awareness. Mm-hmm. You got to know yourself. To me, not being an entrepreneur would suffocate me and I would die. To most people, they actually are just employees or characters that don't have the same ambition or don't want to give up, and not wrongfully, family time, leisure time, things of that nature. So I think self-awareness is the first thing. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to ever yell from the mountains of everybody should quit now and screw the man and do your own thing. I actually just don't think that many people can actually do it. Mm-hmm. I think if you have any inkling, you owe it to yourself to give it a shot, because the thing that even scares me more than people doing it and failing is people not trying and then living their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s with regret.
I noticed that, to be honest, a lot of our resellers, and you might think this is young, hip technology, they're all 40, 50s, 60, I would say, in that range. It's almost like, it's not too late.
But it's definitely not too late, and I think for a lot of them, they're like, wait a minute, especially I'm listening to your thing. Yours, when you say business in a box, it sounds like you're putting a lot of pieces in place for them, which businesses that really take most people to third base over-index with 40 to 60-year-olds, because a lot of things that didn't allow them to go and do it, you've solved for.
Correct.
They're willing to do the last mile. Mm. You see, and this is cliche, all stereotyping, you see a lot of 20 to 30-year-olds that wouldn't as much want things on third base. They have the audacity, the ego, the ambition, the dreams of taking something more from dugout to home plate.
Mm-hmm. It's true. I have a lot of our partners, for example, they start out and they're like, okay, this is great. How much for 1,000 units? I'm like, oh, hold on a second. Let's start with your hometown. Where do you live right now? How do you grow that out? It starts with one. And I think the big fear, it really is the paralyzing fear that brings them over, even though we give them everything on a silver platter, the marketing materials, the scripts, the actual platform, the white label, a full website, content for the website, a full form already plugged into an autoresponder. I mean, all they have to do is really press a button, upload their logo, find and replace, and they're in business. And I think what happens is a lot of people kind of think, I don't know where to start first. We do our best to give that step-by-step walkthrough and guide, but they always hit a roadblock. So what would you say to somebody, let's say, who hits that roadblock, the proverbial roadblock, because it really is all up here. It's a self-fear of the stories that people tell themselves as to why I'm not smart enough, not good enough, I don't know how to sell, I've never sold before. All this crap that people feed themselves.
Yeah. It's the same old story. The fact of the matter is this is much more a mental game than it is a physical game. We're not talking about being a quarterback for the New York Jets or the starting goalie for the Canadians. Went a little in there for you. I think I do think it's a mental game. I think we have not spent enough time understanding how the brain actually works. I think if you had parents that didn't believe in you, I've got your answer for you very quickly, and you need to recognize that. You know, the thing that has worked the most, where I've motivated people to have something good happen to them, has absolutely been predicated on most people don't play out the alternatives. Most people spend time saying, well, I may do this and I will fail, and then my wife is going to say I'm a loser. What they don't play out is, what am I going to feel like when I'm 65 and I thought about this opportunity or any other opportunity and I didn't take it? That sucks. The quickest way I motivate people to doing things is getting them to understand that they need to go and spend time with 60, 70, and 80-year-olds and ask them questions about regret. When you see a human being look you dead in the face and deploy regret on their face, you start acting. I really believe that. It's been one of the biggest drivers in my life, the amount of time I spend with old people and what they actually talk about.
It's would've, could've, should've, or remember when. I find that's like the weakest point of conversation, when two people are sitting and they talk about remember when instead of what they're doing now or what they can do now.
100%.
So yeah, that's great. And you said it best. I mean, we give everyone that step-by-step guide of what to do it, and if they don't do it themselves, it's really on them. And if they don't want it enough, they don't have that passion, I mean, no one can help them other than themselves. They need that kick in the ass, that driver. I mean, I personally just had a daughter about 7 weeks ago, so I now have that. Thank you very much. And so I have this whole new level of appreciation to what my time is worth.
Yes.
I think before great wife,
Yes.
4 years married, and she let me do whatever I want. But now recently, just having a kid, it's like, wait, I don't have my nights and weekends so much anymore. So every minute I spend is always on action. And you had a great quote. I just want to read it for those who haven't said it. Say, you don't have to sacrifice sleep for hustle. You have to sacrifice entire seasons of House of Cards. You have to sacrifice Candy Crush. You have to sacrifice being on the bowling and dart softball team if you want big results. And I think that really speaks to it. It's saying that
if you have the audacity to have your own business, which really means live life on your own terms, then of course it's going to take time and effort, blood and sweat, and it's going to come at the expense of something. People want things in the short term. So I always think that my advantage is that I'm patient. And so I can have leisure or nice things or vacation. I had the nicest 4th of July weekend of my life at my new home out in Long Island,
Congrats, nice.
But I gave up 20 summers for it. And so one could argue you'd never have tomorrow. I could have died along the way. Does this one make up for all the times there's no right or wrong. It's just what I decided to do, and so it's what drove me. And so I think that people have to understand that this is hard. As great as you've set them up, it's the reason you sit and scratch your head every day and go, because you're so motivated and you built your thing, and you look at your resellers and you're like, okay, let me get this right. You have to press, you have to take a couple meetings. You have to I've done, I
pick up the phone.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I can't even
calls.
imagine what you're actually sitting there and saying, but I know what it looks like because I've been around this world for a long time. The hell's the matter with people? I've done so much for them. They're just not motivated. They just can't get up off their normal routine. It's either fear of risk, it's the way they were raised, or it's their need for things that lack pressure. I think that's one thing that people don't talk enough about. You have to be able to eat pressure to run a business, and there's a lot of people that can't. They don't have the emotional stability to be able to take the risks or eat the pressure, and it's scary. You know how many people have gone into your funnel and have decided to use your product that are actually scared to call and sell somebody?
I could show you quotes that will make you angry to the point where it's like, I built a house for you. You have to put the final brick into that house and call it your own. Oh, but I've never picked up a brick before, and I don't know where to put it. Are you sure it goes here? I'm not sure. I'm just going to leave it here and walk away.
Yeah, and very honestly, I think the big vulnerability for business models like yourself is, understanding that there's just a lot of people that don't want to put that final brick in.
And they're not made for it in that case.
Instead of owning that house with that brick, they'd rather go rent from somebody. I mean, it's just true.
And scrape away month to month to make that rent.
And by the way, let me get very weird on you. There's nothing wrong with that. But please understand that the people that win aren't lucky. They put in the work.
They work hard, yeah.
They were born with talent. I don't give a shit how hard you try. You're not going to be LeBron.
Well, I could try, but I will never, ever.
If you started at 8...
I might land a $120 million contract.
If you started at 6 years old and you played every day, I bet you'd be way better than you are now. I'm still not convinced you'd be in the NBA. And so, talent matters, but work ethic. LeBron was born that way, but he put in the hundreds of hours, the thousands of hours, the tens of thousands of hours. I mean, there's years that I work, a year. I will work more this year than like actual work. I don't mean like, just the actual work hours.
Not like Facebook flipping.
Yeah, not being at work.
Yeah.
I will work, think, strategize, execute more hours this year than a lot of people watching this will do in their lives. It's just real. And by the way, I know why. Because from 1st to 12th grade, in those 12 years, there were people that studied more, worked more than I did in 1 month than I did in 12 years.
Book smarts don't equal street smarts or business smarts.
And
at
sometimes
all.
they do, but what I'm saying is I've been on the other side of the coin. I got D's and F's in school because I didn't put in the work. I didn't think that was right for me, in the same way that somebody who's watching may not think that running a business or trying to build an empire is for them. But what I'd like to accomplish with my tone and my cadence in this interview is eliminating complaining. Eliminating complaining is very fascinating to me. In a world where there's businesses that get you to the last brick, in a world where there's businesses that can start from scratch and people work, I just really want to get people into a place of eliminating their complaining. You're not winning because either you're not talented enough or you didn't put enough work. The end. That's it. It's not super complicated. And so for a lot of you, I actually think you're talented enough to subsidize your income that you make at a job with a business. It's because you're not willing to work.
100%.
And that's a tough pill to swallow, and I don't want to be cool and have the audacity and razz you. It's just the truth.
And adversity has almost the power to freeze somebody in their tracks.
Why are there so few people that are rich and are winning? There's tons of macroeconomic issues, and I know where everybody can go with the cynical point of view, but so much of it has to do with talent and hard work. I think the thing that the thing that's interesting about your business is layering. Every basketball coach on earth would have had to eventually say to me, "You're going to be 5'8.5." It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Your vertical is really unacceptable.
Muggsy Bogues style.
And your left hand is non-existent. You're not going to make it. And the question becomes, and I think about this a lot when I consult, for me, I don't consult entrepreneurs and take money from them, so it's easy for me. But the ones that do, I always tell them, look, a coach that keeps telling some kid that he's going to make it to the NBA because he wants their money the next year is a bad person. And so I think the cadence that you need to figure out is, what's that Mendoza line of the people that are actually just lacking motivation? Because you've clearly fulfilled the tactics. And the tactics are never the variable. My friends, if you're watching this, you're not going to fail because you don't know what to do. You're going to fail because you don't know how to do it, within yourself. Not the process. You just don't have the motivation. You fear rejection. What a killer for most of you. You feel sales is tough. People say no, it feels bad, right? I'm sensitive to that because I don't think I asked out as many girls as I could have in my life because I was fearful of rejection in that environment, but never in business. So I'm empathetic to it. I always think about how wiring is different. I've stuck with I finally have come to amends with it's better to be a businessman than a ladies' man. Because here's the punchline. You want real motivation? And you might have saw this piece of content. I believe in it the most. You're gonna die. You're going to die, and you're going to die sooner than you think. And what I mean by that is not some tragic accident. I hope you all live to 100. It's just, have you talked to anybody who's 60, 70, 80? They're always like, life just shot by.
Yeah, boom.
I don't know,
Next
I'm 40, right? You feel it too? Right? All three of us were just even I was I'm 40. How am I 40? I think I'm 14. Aren't I 14?
Yeah.
I literally think I'm 14.
I just turned 35, and I'm just wow, just blur.
And especially when you start having the child and you start thinking about stuff like that. And so, to be very frank with you guys, we could say a lot of things, why work for this? Could you imagine if you actually did it? You'll be able to take your vacations on your time. You could say a lot of those things. The punchline really is when you're wrapping it up, especially if you're lucky enough to know you're wrapping it up, no sudden bad thing, when you're 90 and you're just not going to live for another 50 years. how do you feel? And for me, I'm fearful of that. I'm so happy with life that the fear of my death and knowing that I won't have like more upside, plays with me because I love anticipation. I love business because I don't know what's around the next corner, and I like to climb. Knowing there's less time to climb hurts me, and I try to push people to understand that.
That's great. And I think this same story that I tell, the most frustrating thing for me, and I don't bring this to myself because it's not about me, it's about our resellers, it's about our partners. I want to see people succeed. I know what it's like to cross that bridge.
Yeah.
And to see the bridge on the other side and say the only thing that's stopping me from being there is my own effort. It's my own perseverance. It's waking up every day and being hungry and wanting it. And I think just if there's one message you guys get from this, it's that you're going to die one day. And like Gary said, you don't want to be on your deathbed being like, I should have, I could have, I would have, I wish I would have done X. Today is the day that you really got to get out there and push it and really seize the moment.
The big thing that I would like to wrap this up with as well from my point of view is, okay, easy, I know what you're doing. Oh, easy for you guys. It's just you've gotta get a higher level of mentality. Do not look at the negative, look at the positive. It's a big thing. It's easy to say, yeah, but you guys, you got this. If you just choose to say, okay, what has stopped me from doing this, and go to that dark place, because it's dark. It comes from pain. It's something bad. It's your mom telling you that you were a loser. It's just real, and it really hurts me, and people send me a lot of stuff. The problem is, and this is really true, nobody cares. And when I say nobody cares, of course people care. I even care, and I don't even know you. Definitely the people that love you care, but the problem is the broader nobody. The market doesn't care. It just doesn't. No. It's just a market. And nobody's going to do it for you. So I would say, and this is starting to get into the weird version of myself, even putting self-awareness in it, but I don't know where my path is going, but one of the biggest things I've been thinking a lot more about is get help. I think everybody needs to go lay down somewhere and say some dark shit. I feel like when you get the shit out of your mouth, when you get the bad stuff out of your body, then you can start. Before you get motivated by us, and today's the day, I think you got to get the poison out that stopped you in the first place.
Stop feeding yourself the bullshit story of
Yes.
I can't because of this and that. I can't tell you how many people call me up and be like, oh, years ago I had a back problem, I can't leave the house. And it's well, this doesn't involve you. It's just stop telling you and feeding yourself all this bullshit every single day. And
that's right.
It's paralyzing.
That's right.
It really is. And that's something for myself as well. It wasn't a quick win for me. It took a couple of years to get my feet off the ground, to figure out how to do things. And once I saw that and had that energy, now we're actually going to Web Summit where I know you're going there as well, so we'll see each other there.
Good for you, brother.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
Really proud of you, man. Good luck to everybody out there. Good luck.
Hey, my name is Kevin Z, and I'm coming to you live from Times Square in New York City. I have some very special free training to share with you. Make sure you click on the link below. We have information about how to start your own social-powered Wi-Fi business, how to start your own mobile wallet, punch card business, and really how to be a mobile marketing entrepreneur. Now, I didn't really start as an entrepreneur myself. I was a former corporate guy. I was in the corporate world. I spent years and years, decades of my life and my time and my energy working for someone else and helping make somebody else rich. What makes today more special and more important than anything before is that it's never been easier to start your own mobile marketing business. You see, we put together the step-by-step how-to on how to do this yourself. How to build your business, how to use the software, how to market to your clients. All you have to do, check out the link below. We teach you exactly how to do all of this step-by-step. Again, my name is Kevin Z, and make sure you click on the link below right now and learn how to start your own mobile marketing business. Take care.